Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Lumpkin Center. Stephen Williams here with you, alongside WRBL News 3 Sports Director Jonathan Husky, as we get set for a Sunday doubleheader. UNC Pembroke in town. The Braves and Lady Braves proving to be a tough challenge on this Sunday, but the Lady Cougars coming off the victory 68-51 over Francis Marion on Friday night, and it's a team right now that's playing pretty good basketball and has set themselves up pretty nicely.
Well, what really impressed me about CSU on Friday night against Francis Marion was their ability to get to the rim. They could, the mid-second half or so, the outcome's still in doubt. They didn't pull away till late. When they needed points, they could get to the rim instead of settling for jumpers and settling for outside shots. And that's a trait that you have to have and you have to be able to do to be successful. I think it's honestly something they were missing last year and something that they've improved on, and Jonathan Norton has focused on in the preseason and up to this point.
CSU 8-3 coming into today, 3-2 in Peach Belt Conference play, back on the right side of 500 inside the PBC. The Lady Braves of UNC Pembroke 5-7, 1-4, coming off a loss 80-59 at the hands of Georgia Southwestern Friday night in America. So it's a bit of a rough go of things for John Haskins in his 10th season, but he does have a couple of playmakers on this squad that can get the job done. Jasmine Kemp, a junior out of Elizabethtown, North Carolina, averaging 13 points and nearly 8 rebounds a game. And also Kiera Haney, who's one of the few players inside the Peach Belt Conference that's averaging a double-double, averaging 11 points and 11 rebounds per game. The junior forward out of Tabor City, North Carolina. So they'll present a challenge to the Lady Cougars today, who try to sweep the weekend, make it 2 in a row before they head to Young Harris on Wednesday night. We're going to send things across the way. Brian Solito, our public address announcer, will give you your national anthem and your starting lineups here on Cougar Sports TV.
Featuring the Braves of the University of North Carolina Pembroke, who come into today's contest with an overall record of 5 wins and 7 losses, 1-4 in conference play. And your Columbus State University Lady Cougars, 8-3 overall, 3-2 in the Peach Belt. In just a moment, we'll introduce today's starting lineups. But first, we ask that you please rise and gentlemen remove your hats as we honor the United States of America with the playing of our national anthem. Janisa Langley. A 5'9" freshman from Knightdale, North Carolina, number 32, Caitlin Mitchell. The guards, a 5'4" freshman from Indian Trail, North Carolina, number 13, Jasmine Huntley. And a 5'9" junior from Fayetteville, North Carolina, number 22, Ave Hardy. The head coach of the Braves is John Haskins, assisted by Cookie Davis, Tyler Everly, and Connor Haskins. And now, Lady Cougar fans, let's meet and greet the starters. First and forward, 5'10", senior from Morrow, Georgia, number 42, Shatil Bradford. In the post, 6 feet tall, the junior from Donaldsonville, number 44, Carrie Washington. At one guard, 5'6", a freshman from the range, number 14, Brittany Tatum. At guard, 5'5", a senior from Macon, number 23, Katie Smith. At the guard, 5'9", a senior from Cuthbert, number 32, Isha Alexander. The head coach of the Lady Cougars is Jonathan Norton. Assisted by Quincy Timmons and Kirsten.
Your starting lineups from the Lumpkin Center as we get set for Columbus State and UNC Pembroke. It's the usual 5 for CSU: Brittany Tatum, Tay Smith, Aisha Alexander, Shatil Bradford, and Carrie Washington. CSU, the only team in the Peach Belt that's used the same starting 5 in every game this season. On the opposite side, Jasmine Huntley, along with Jasmine Kemp, the leading scorer, Ave Hardy, Janisa Munley, and Caitlin Mitchell, the 5 in black for UNC Pembroke in their black road uniforms with the white trim and the gold lettering. CSU in the home whites with the red numbers and the navy trim. CSU all-time has dominated this series. It's the 32nd overall meeting between these two. CSU has won 25 of the first 31, including 13 of 14 games played here in Columbus. The only loss was in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament in 2012 in the opening round. It'll be Washington to jump things up with Munley, and we're underway on this Sunday afternoon. CSU played back and forth with Francis Marion early on Friday night before really controlling it around the 8-minute mark in the first half. Shot clock at 10 as Bradford gives it up. Out to the outside, Tay Smith will have the first look of the afternoon, and it goes down. Already a better start from outside than we saw on Friday. Jonathan Norton said Friday before the game, it pretty much is simple when it comes down to it. When we shoot the ball well, we generally win. As the ball's knocked away by Washington, saved in bounds off of the Lady Cougars right in front of Jonathan Norton. CSU didn't shoot the basketball well on Friday night, but they did pick up the victory and did it with defense. One of the few times this season it's been the defense that's led the way for the Lady Cougars and not the offense. Kemp getting her first look from just inside the three-point line. Long rebound run down in the corner by Alexander. Brittany Tatum running the point for this team as they swing it all the way across the court. And Tay Smith, hot early, knocks down the long two.
You can see what CSU is trying to do, what their offense is kind of built on, is getting defense moving with those swing passes, with the skip passes. It creates the open looks. And as you said, if they can knock down those open shots, which they'll get, then they'll probably be successful.
It'll open things up for them on the interior, too. That's the name of the game for Jonathan Norton's bunch, as the pass over the top and laid in by Janisa Munley puts UNC Pembroke on the board, trailing 5-2. Tatum will get a look from outside, and that goes down. CSU on the mark through 3 possessions. Coach Norton also said, we go as Brittany Tatum goes. So it's a lot of pressure to put on a player, but they don't have any other point guards, as Munley had it blocked that time by Washington. The jump ball arrow will favor UNC Pembroke, so we'll stay on this side.
Tatum was a big pickup for Norton in the offseason in recruiting out of LaGrange. Saw her play in high school, was really impressed, and knew she could come in and have a big impact.
That one off the fingertips of Ave Hardy in the corner. She was arguing that Carrie Washington touched it. Argument to no avail, though, as CSU out to a fast start. 2 minutes gone by, leads at 8-2. Lady Cougars didn't handle the second game of a weekend well last week, as Tay Smith, the wraparound pass, finds Alexander at the free throw line, and CSU's 4 of 4 from the field. Last week they made the trip to Lander and USC Aiken. They played well against Lander, won that game in thrilling fashion in overtime, and then had nothing left, it seemed like, on Saturday against USC Aiken. Shot attempt put up and bounces around and down for Ave Hardy to cut it to a 6-point game. Bradford thought about trying her hand at it. Instead, they swing it again across the court. Bradford will try this time. The first time CSU's missed, but Carrie Washington pulls in the offensive rebound, sets up Alexander, and she'll get the friendly roll. Bounces around twice and falls through. So CSU, 5 of its first 6 shots have gone down. They lead 12-4, and we have a handful of subs set to come in at the next whistle. As the long 3 off the back iron, that time from Kemp, and a foul on the rebound committed by Mitchell. We watched Jonathan Norton on Friday make a lot of different subs, trying a big lineup, trying a small lineup, doing a couple different things, trying to mix it up. And it appears that he's going to do the same thing today. Comes in with Kim Blank, who will run the point for this team. Doesn't see a lot of minutes very often, but getting early playing time here. Kayla Richards on the wing, along with Dee DeShazer and Ashley Azuzu. The girl in the middle, who seems to be getting better as every game passes. Bradford stepping into the paint around Kemp, knocks down the mid-range jumper. It's a double-digit game. CSU without the services of Kristen Kennebrew today. In street clothes over on the bench, suffered a concussion in about the first 3 seconds she was on the court the other night, as the 3 was long and the rebound pulled in by Bradford. That may be the reason that Kim Blank gets such an early look here, uncharacteristically. Someone has to take the spot of Kennebrew in this lineup. 14-4, 4 minutes in. CSU couldn't have asked for a better start to this one. They set up the screen for DeShazer. Shot clock at 3. Bradford has to put it up. As the horn's going to sound, basket, count it, and she'll head to the line.
That's exactly what I was talking about pregame, was getting to the rim. Not really a lot happening on that possession offensively. Bradford just took it upon herself to get to the rim and make something happen.
The foul was on Caitlin Mitchell. That's her second, so foul trouble early for her. We've gotten to the under 16 media timeout, 15:36 to go. CSU all over UNC Pembroke in the early stages, 16-4. CSU out to an early 16-4 edge. Shatil Bradford after the timeout at the line to complete the three-point play. So far through 4 minutes, though, CSU just a step quicker, it seems, as they're having a little issue with the clock across the way. It's stuck on 29 seconds as it was counting down the timeout. There we go, 15:36 put back on. Bradford to the line where she'll have one. Shatil coming in, the leading scorer for this team at 16.5 points per game. Has an early 5, and she'll come out. Alexander back in for CSU as they go small, and this is the quick lineup that Jonathan Norton presented on Friday night. They'll press, they'll trap, and they force turnovers just like that.
What you like so far from CSU too is that 4 different players have scored here in the early going. It's not one player doing it all. They're spreading the offense around well.
DeShazer off the inbounds will try her hand at it. The rebound bounces around and out of bounds, and CSU will get it. And right now, CSU just winning the battle to every loose ball. UNC Pembroke a step behind at the moment. So a fresh 30 on the shot clock for the Lady Cougars. Carrie Washington, the lone forward in the game, manning the middle for CSU. Brittany Tatum back out there along with Tay Smith. DeShazer gets another look. This one wide open. It rolled around twice and fell out. And it will still stay with CSU. So UNC Pembroke cannot get a loose ball rebound. So the Lady Cougars will have a third look at things here on this possession, already leading by 13. The pass too strong for Washington, who couldn't handle it. It's loose on the floor and picked up by Ave Hardy. Lady Cougars going for their second straight win as the pass is taken away by Tay Smith, and a foul coming up from behind. Again, the quick guards for CSU in this lineup causing havoc on the defensive end.
The Cougars kind of having their way here so far, but you know, basketball is a game of runs. It's a cliche, but basketball is a game of runs. It's not going to be like this the whole game, so you like to see them come out and keep the pressure on as long as they can, because they're going to cool off eventually. Try to build up as much of a cushion here in the early going as they can.
If you've watched the CSU men, you know that is a big issue. The 3 from DeShazer missed again. The only player so far that's actually struggled from the field. She's missed all 3 of her tries. Kemp, the runner, falling right, goes off the glass. That's the first 2 for the junior leading scorer for this team. UNC Pembroke doesn't apply a whole lot of pressure on the ball. They play inside the 3-point line defensively as Tay Smith fires from just inside the line.
Last couple of possessions not quite as good for CSU. Not quite the shots not coming quite as much in the flow of the offense as they did in the very early going.
6 minutes in, 17-6. CSU holding the double-digit edge. Washington out pressuring the ball. Shot clock at 9 with Hardy being guarded by Smith out near midcourt. Shot clock winding down to 3 now. They're going to have to get it off. The shot put up at the horn was missed by Kiera Haney, and CSU with the rebound and the run. Lady Cougars have missed 4 straight field goals after making 7 of their first 8, and they commit their 3rd turnover now. UNC Pembroke, though, in need of some kind of offense. Hasn't been much for them in the early portions of this first half. Hardy comes off the screen and forced to give it up. DeShazer guarding Kemp. The help defense from Alexander didn't matter as Jasmine Kemp has back-to-back baskets. So back inside single digits, 17-8. 13 minutes to go in this first half. Tatum got the switch. They set up DeShazer, who's not going to stop firing, and knocks down her first one from downtown. So CSU has hit 3 of them from distance here in the first 7 minutes, and the lead right back out to 12. Tay Smith hounding Hardy, and then a bad pass bounces right off the foot of Haney, and CSU gets the turnover again. That's 4 now. DeShazer from the same spot. She just made 1, and it's a heat check. Dee DeShazer with back-to-back bombs, 23-8. CSU up by 15, and John Haskins takes a quick timeout, a 30-second stoppage for UNC Pembroke. Last 2 times, though, they get wide-open shots, better in the flow, as you were saying, and knock them both down.
Yeah, and those were 2 big shots because they had some not the possessions weren't so great on offense. Kind of forced a couple shots, had gone a couple minutes without scoring. UNC Pembroke had put up 4 quick. Looked like they might try to get back in the game, but to come back and knock down those 2 threes just like that, really kind of got the game, swung the momentum back towards the CSU side.
CSU was 2 of 15 from downtown on Friday night. That is not an issue so far today. They've already doubled the number of makes. They're up to 4 in this one. Dee DeShazer came in averaging 2 points per game and had a career high of 6. Well, she has 6 already, and we've played less than 8 minutes of this ball game so far. Jonathan Norton's bunch, though, really positioning themselves well. We talked about this on Friday night with him. He said this conference this year is as wide open as it has been in his 5 years as the head coach here, and if you need any proof of that, Clayton State was the preseason coach's pick to be the favorite of this conference, and rightfully so after going 32-1 last year. Yesterday, they lost their 3rd consecutive game. So this conference as wide open as it gets right now. North Georgia controlling the Western Division at the moment. They were the ones that handed Clayton State a loss yesterday by 13 points. The Nighthawks, the newly named Nighthawks, 5-0 on the season so far, and they won yesterday despite losing Jamie Carnes, the former PBC Player of the Year, to a knee injury a week ago. So big opportunity for the Lady Cougars to put themselves in good position when March rolls around. Got to take care of business at home, and so far they've done that for the most part this year. 23-8, CSU by 15 as they kick it out for Kemp. A slow release on the jump shot, and it fell off, and then the rebound tapped off the foot of Azuzu. So it'll stay on this end with UNC Pembroke, and they'll get a second look at the basket. It's just the 3rd rebound that UNC Pembroke has grabbed in over 8 minutes of play so far. Although, granted, there haven't been a whole lot of CSU missed shots to get rebounds on. Blake back in the game along with Richards. Azuzu in the middle with Bradford into Shazer. Kemp will try again. That 3 is short, and Azuzu high for the rebound.
Defense doing a great job cutting off the lanes to the basket, but then recovering to deny the passing lanes. UNC Pembroke couldn't really get anything going on that possession.
Azuzu sets the screen. They come out and close on DeShazer, not to give her another look this time. Bradford from the free throw line, a little strong, and the rebound belongs to Munley. Right at the 11-minute mark, CSU by 15 early in this first half. They led comfortably for most of the game against Francis Marion before pulling away at the very end. Stepping into the lane, the shot off to the left. Bradford has it, and CSU running with numbers. Bradford's going to go all by herself all the way to the rim, though, and caught the underside of the backboard.
Would, of course, like to seen her pass that off. 1-on-3 in that situation.
Layup on the other end belongs to Jasmine Huntley. It puts the Lady Braves in double figures at 23-10. CSU 56% from the field so far as Richards pump fakes, finds Blake wide open from downtown. Kim Blake has one from outside. Kim Blake establishes a new career high with that basket right there. I only scored 2 points this entire season. Had the freshman out of Gainesville, Georgia. Well, she has 3 more now, though, as Kemp makes the acrobatic shot, falling left through the contact, and she'll have 1 more. Handful of subs stepping onto the floor. Carrie Washington back, Brittany Tatum back, Michelle Montgomery back in, or rather in for the first time. Ave Hardy comes back in for UNC Pembroke, as does Caitlin Mitchell, who's going to step on the floor with 2 fouls. The foul was on Ashley Azuzu. It was the first against CSU as Kemp adds the free throw to give her 7. Aisha Alexander back to the floor as well for CSU as Kayla Richards will take a seat. So Jonathan Norton rotating them in early and often in this ball game, in which they're doubling up UNC Pembroke 26-13. DeShazer missed on her attempt for a third from downtown, and Kemp the rebound. Kick out, Hardy way too strong. Fans behind us, so let Hardy know about it. Alexander from downtown. Aisha Alexander doesn't take them very often, but that one goes through. And by doesn't take it very often, that was just her 4th attempt of the year and the first time she's made it. So it's a 16-point game, and CSU with a turnover. Alexander trying to go coast to coast, gets it off the glass, and Aisha has 9.
There's just something different about the way this offense works when Brittany Tatum is on the floor at point guard. It almost kicks into another gear, and you can see it since she came back into the ball game.
She is one they're going to live and die with. She's going to turn the basketball over, as a lot of freshmen do, as they're going to say Haney stepped out of bounds to give it back to CSU. Freshmen will turn it over. They'll make freshman mistakes, but when she's on, it's like you mentioned, it's a different team, and so Jonathan Norton will live with the bad to take the good.
It's a high risk, high reward almost playing her so early.
She is his lone point guard on the roster, so she gets the bulk of the minutes at that spot. This is Tatum driving baseline to the rim, too strong with the right hand. Kerry Washington's follow may have been deflected, and it was last touched by CSU.
Right on cue, a shot maybe forced by the freshman there that, she gets a little older later this season into next year. She won't take that shot. She had somebody in the corner to pass it off to, but tried to force it up a little too strong.
That's what Jonathan Norton, I believe, was telling her. He walked back down the floor, and the two had a conversation in front of the bench in which he was saying, look for the kick out. Once you get into that center, somebody's open. CSU in a zone now as they give up an open look from downtown off the back rim. Washington the rebound, and Tatum wants to push with it. They swing it to the corner. Tay Smith open. Basket won't go down. It would have been a 4-point play potentially, as the foul was committed by Ave Hardy. Can't close out that hard on a shooter, and it'll be Tay Smith to the line for 3 after the under 8 media timeout. 7:50 to go in this first half. It is all Lady Cougars, 31-13 in front. Stephen Williams, Jonathan Husky back here with you on Cougar Sports TV. It's all CSU in the opening game of our doubleheader on this Sunday afternoon, 31-13. Tay Smith at the free throw line for 3 shots after the foul before the media timeout. Tay, a player that's made such an improvement this season and having a good night tonight. She had a ball game at Lander when CSU ended up prevailing in overtime 95-93. She went for a career-high 28 points that night, had 20 of them in the second half in overtime, and it was her best game of her short 2-year career so far here at CSU, and she knocks all 3 free throws down to give herself 8 and to open up the largest lead at 21.
We're just at the 47 mark in the first half, but I mean, you kind of get the feel that CSU could put this thing away. The body language from UNC Pembroke isn't good. Nothing's fallen for them. If they can keep shooting the Cougars, that is, the way they have been, then they could put this thing away early.
Hardy from downtown shows a little bit of life as she buries the three from the left wing to get it down to an 18-point game. CSU has already made 6 of 11 from downtown. 10 is the most they've hit in any game this season. Shatil Bradford back on the floor, spinning left, had it blocked that time, and I believe they're going to go jump ball. Kind of quick on the jump ball call because Bradford lost it, but CSU will keep with the possession arrow. Mary McCarty seeing early action tonight. Played for the first time in her career on Friday night, played 3 minutes. One of the CSU volleyball players on this squad. Jonathan Norton was talking about the potential of redshirting her, but that no longer the case as she's now starting to play in the rotation for CSU. Bradford at the horn of the shot clock, missed it. McCarty rebound and follow. That will please the fan section up in the top corner that's here representing Mary, one of the local girls from Columbus, played at Calvary Christian. So the first points of her Lady Cougar career come here to make it a 20-point game. Long jumper matched on the opposite side for Kiera Haney, her first 2. CSU jumped out early in this one, and they've been in control since. Alexander underneath, hangs in the air. The shot wasn't there. Rebound pulled in by Mitchell. Huntley will push it the other way. CSU back in transition, though. The trailer is Mitchell, and the 3 falls off. Had a clean look at it, just didn't knock it down. 6 minutes to go in the first half. CSU on top, 36-18. They'll head on Wednesday to Young Harris for just a 1-game road trip before back here next weekend for Armstrong and Flagler. Bradford to the rim, had it roll off, and the rebound for Kemp. Kemp will grab the rebound, go all the way to the other end, and knock down the basket. Jasmine Kemp, you can see why she's a good scorer. She scores, has a good-looking shot. It takes her a while to get it off, but it looks good when it gets up there. So 16-point game. UNC Pembroke hoping over the next 5 minutes and 10 seconds they can claw their way back to within single digits and take a little bit of momentum into the locker room. Azuzu's turnaround goes down.
It's a big basket there for CSU. It missed a couple. UNC Pembroke had come back and knocked down a couple. Again, basketball's a game of runs. You don't want to, even with an 18-point lead, 16-point lead, you don't want to let the other team get any kind of momentum.
Haney will try again from the corner off the back rim. Kemp keeps it alive. Kemp on the follow. I believe the shot was blocked. I don't think that'll go down as a pass, but the follow was there for Haney underneath the rim.
Nobody blocking out underneath the basket on that first shot from CSU. Allowed the rebound right there.
You talked early about how many Lady Cougars had scored in the first couple minutes. It's up to 8 now. 8 different Lady Cougars in the scoring column. And they're going to say Bradford traveled as CSU will sub in 3 players. Smith, Tatum, and Washington in. McCarty and Azuzu along with Kayla Richards will sit, so we're back to the original starting 5 for the Lady Cougars. John Haskins, his bunch, trying to get it down to 10 or underneath before halftime. They've got 4 minutes to do so. They're trailed by 16 at 38-22. Huntley comes off the screen. Tay Smith right with her every step of the way, though. This is Horn to the rim and throws it up over Carrie Washington for 2. So within 14 now. Lady Cougars have cooled off from the field. Bradford from 10 feet. Gets the soft touch, and Shatil Bradford has 2 more.
That's when the offense is really playing well. That's when the team is really clicking, as they get those quick baskets, those quick, good looks at the basket, and knocking them down.
CSU with 40 points, nobody in double figures yet, though, as Horn with a high arcing 3. A little bit of a strut coming back to the other end as well. So Camille Horn comes off the bench. averaging 7.5 points per game, and she picks up 5 in a row. Smith open for it, calling for the ball, steps inside the arc and hits the long two. Tay Smith has found a spot on that left side. Tay becomes the first one to hit double figures. She now has 10, as Horn will try again. Rebound, no one home but CSU players, and Alexander will take it the other way. Smith will try again, this time right side, off the front rim. John Haskins furious with the official right in front of him that no foul was called on the rebound, as Huntley goes to the rim, and we've got a foul coming up called by the official at midcourt. Always struggle with that call. The official at midcourt makes the call. The one standing 3 feet away from the basket doesn't.
It's a different angle, see.
Not that it wasn't a foul.
No.
But it's just how did one see it and one didn't. One was standing as close as I am to you right now.
Well, sometimes you're too close to the situation. You can't see the details, see.
2:34 to go, under 4 media timeout. The final one we have here in this first half, 42-27. CSU in front by 15. .234 to go in the first half, 42-27. CSU in control in the late stages of half number one. Remember, it's a long day of basketball here inside the Lumpkin Center. Second game of a doubleheader coming up 25 minutes following this one. And it should be a high-flying, very fast-paced, up-tempo game between Pembroke and CSU. Jasmine Huntley, the one at the free throw line, knocks them both down, and she'll check out of the game in favor of Jasmine Kemp. It's tough to keep the Jasmine straight on this team. There's 3 of them for UNC Pembroke. Lady Braves will apply a little pressure, but back it off. It will open things up for CSU, though, as Bradford gives it up to Tatum. Lead down to 13 with 2:10 to go. Tatum from the right wing, off the back rim. Alexander grabs the long rebound, up and under Kemp, and the foul.
Great move there underneath to get up and get the shot off. Interesting choice from UNC Pembroke here, going with the zone, the way that CSU has shot from the outside, but at the same time, if you open up the inside with Shatil Bradford and the like, then they can beat you in there too.
I guess John Haskins says we'll play the percentages and that they're going to cool off at some point. CSU only shoots it from outside at 27% for the season. Not the case today, as Alexander completes the three-point play. She's in double figures now with 12 and is the game leader. CSU has cooled off down to 52% from the field, 43% from beyond the arc. Hardy gets a look from near straight on. Haney up with the rebound, and she's fouled on the follow. Haney doing what she does best, grabbing rebounds. 11 points, 11 rebounds per game for the junior from North Carolina. Averaged just 6 points and 6 rebounds last year, so she's made big strides from sophomore to junior year, and John Haskins, I'm sure, is happy to have it. Not a great free throw shooter, though, just 58% from the line. Shatil Bradford, the one who committed the foul. CSU's committed just 3 fouls in this first half. So 15-point game after the second free throw. Goes in for Haney, and then Haney causing havoc on the other end, tips the pass away. Big 1 minute and 41 seconds here. If you're CSU, you've got to keep it out at this distance. Don't allow any momentum to be had as they trap out on the perimeter. Smith slings it underneath. Good look, but Washington couldn't finish it. Great look underneath, but Kerry Washington just left it hanging on the rim. Alexander the steal in front of her own bench, and CSU wants to push it. It's a 4-on-2. Washington can finish this one as Aisha Alexander creates the basket.
That's how you execute the fast break. Make the defender commit one way and then go the other. Textbook.
That is the 9th different Lady Cougar now to score in this first half as they lead it 47-30, closing in on the half-century mark in this first half as Haney missed the shot, and then a very late foul call at the end of that play against Kerry Washington. So for Kerry, that'll be her second. Only Lady Cougar that has hit that mark. Caitlin Mitchell had 2 early for UNC Pembroke. And now it's Kiara Haney back to the free throw line. Line change for CSU.
Beat me to it.
Richards, Blake, Azuzu, Montgomery, and DeShazer. Jonathan Norton reaches into that bench and says 5 new ones. Haney again splits the pair, and with 50 seconds left, CSU has it with a chance to add on. See where the scoring comes from out of this lineup. A lot of shooters, a couple of post players as well. DeShazer left side, it was a line drive that hit the front of the rim. 3-second differential between the two clocks. So CSU could conceivably get one more possession. Kemp a long 2 foot on the line. Azuzu the rebound, and CSU has it with shot clock off and 18 ticking down. Fans behind us counting it down for the Lady Cougars as DeShazer will try again, and DD has another one from downtown. It's a 19-point game. 2 seconds left. They'll heave from half court. Will Hardy, it hits nothing but the backboard, and CSU hangs half 100 on UNC Pembroke in the first half. The Lady Cougars scored just 68 points in 40 minutes of action on Friday, but a pretty flawless first half for them as they put 50 on the board in the first half.
Yeah, you can't complain about anything that they've done. Everything's fallen. Offense is working well. The defense has played well. There was that one stretch about mid-half that they they cooled off from the floor a little bit, but credit to them for getting back to it. And you know, the saying is, singers got to sing, shooters got to shoot. Just keep putting it up there, and they're going to keep falling.
Shooters got to shoot, definitely, in this case for CSU. As they have bombed away from outside, they've hit 7 of them from downtown. 10 is the season high, and they'll have 20 minutes in the second half to try and get to that number. Your first half scoring, Aisha Alexander, the game leader, has 12. Tay Smith joining her in double figures with 10. 9 for Dee DeShazer on 3 3-pointers. 7 from Shatil Bradford, and then it's a host of players with 2 or 3 points. Brittany Tatum and Kim Blake each have 3. 2 for Ashley Azuzu, 2 for Mary McCarty, and 2 for Kerry Washington in a dominant first half for CSU. On the other side, for UNC Pembroke, Jasmine Kemp leads the way with 9 for them. 6 for Kiara Haney to go along with just 2 rebounds in that first half. 5 apiece for Ave Hardy and for Camille Horn. 4 for Jasmine Huntley and just 2 for Janisa Monley, as UNC Pembroke has some things they've got to fix here in the next 14 minutes before we start the second half. We'll take the halftime break with them. When we come back, we'll take a look at where the standings are at in the Peach Belt Conference, as a lot of Peach Belt action happened yesterday across the Southeast. We'll take a look at that, and we'll set you up for your second half of basketball. As we head to the break, 50-31, Lady Cougars up by 19. 50-31 the score at halftime here inside the Lumpkin Center on Cougar Sports TV. Stephen Williams here with you alongside News 3 WRBL Sports Director Jonathan Husky. 50-31 the Lady Cougars in front by 19 over UNC Pembroke at the break. The Lady Cougars with a chance to get into a tie for third place in the Western Division of the Peach Belt Conference. With a victory here today, if they can hold on, they would improve to 4-2 and be tied with Georgia College in that spot. Young Harris is 4-1 in second. They will not factor, though, into the top four that will get to come here for the Peach Belt Conference tournament because of their reclassification into the NCAA ranks. They're still serving their 2-year probationary window. North Georgia, a perfect 5-0, undefeated in the west side right now. Clayton State, the preseason favorite. You know they'll get things fixed at some point, but they've already lost 3 games this season. They're 3-3 in Peach Belt Conference and play, and they're 8-5 overall. So a team that has had quite the fall, but they lost quite a few really good players from last year's squad. The other side of the Peach Belt Conference is a mess right now. Francis Marion, who CSU just beat on Friday night, and Georgia Regents University lead that division at 3-2. So that is a wide open Eastern Division, and all 7 of those teams are eligible for this Peach Belt Conference tournament. Second half of basketball coming up in just a matter of moments, and for CSU, it's just a recipe of much of the same from here on. You expect them to try to do what they did in that first half, and they should be able to walk out of here rather easily.
Yeah, well, what's going to be interesting to see is do they keep shooting it so well? Were they I guess affected by the halftime break? Can they keep up that shooting percentage and the way they were playing? But I mean, strategically, if you're Jonathan Norton, you don't change a thing. It's working to the extent of probably better than it's worked all year.
And he would love to have the opportunity, if it would present itself down the stretch, to get some of these players a little rest. He mentioned they're not battling near the injuries that Robert Moore's men are here at Columbus State, but he does have a couple of players with leg injuries that they've been working through all year long, and he'd love to get them some time away. CSU with a turnover with the steal on the opening possession. The layup wasn't there, and Washington, a taste of her own medicine on the follow. She's generally the one blocking the shots, but has hers blocked on that one. CSU with its starting 5 out there: Tatum, Smith, Bradford, Alexander, and Washington. And White for CSU working left to right as you're looking at it. It's Mitchell along with Huntley. Haney getting the start in the second half. Kemp and Hardy in black for UNC Pembroke. Alexander way off on the 3, and a foul from behind on the rebound against Tay Smith. Fouls not a factor in the first half for either side. Just 9 fouls committed combined in half number 1. CSU shot 5 free throws, made all 5 of them. UNC Pembroke was 5 of 7 from the line. 50-31 though. CSU blistering hot, especially from the outside in that first half. Shot clock at 7. And trying to hand it off was Huntley, and I believe they're going to say Brittany Tatum, trying to fight to get to that basketball, committed the foul.
It's an example of a little bit too much over-aggressiveness there from Tatum. They had the ball handler trapped. She had nowhere to go, and really no need to try to get in there and steal the ball. Just play defense and don't foul. Instead, now they gives UNC Pembroke a chance to reset and with a fresh shot clock.
Haney underneath, working around Washington. The shot didn't go, but it'll stay on this end. Haney, one that can match Kerry Washington's size and seems to have the athleticism to match what Kerry can do as well. Fresh 30 on the shot clock now, over a minute gone by in this half. No score yet from either side. CSU in its 3-2 zone, the 3 guards up top: Tatum, Alexander, and Smith. Shot clock down to 12 now as Huntley gets it on the left wing. Into the corner for Haney. The kick out right into the hands of Brittany Tatum. She'll go uncontested to the other end and with the right hand lay it in. So CSU doing what it did Friday night, turning defense into offense, and it gets them the easy 2. .21 lead once again. Hardy barely grazes iron as Alexander grabs it off the floor. Smith over the top. Washington makes the tough catch. The kick out. Alexander off the front rim. Look at Washington
Great
snatch
rebound.
it. Bradford, the second opportunity off the glass.
What I love from the CSU offense so far is they make passes early. They don't wait for the safe pass. They make an aggressive pass early in a possession, early in a trip down the floor, which gives better looks at the basket.
And not afraid to swing it across the entire court either. A lot of passes from one wing or one corner to the other. Shot clock again winding down at 7 now as Hardy goes to work. And I believe she just stepped on the baseline. It's the second or third time Haney has tried to drive baseline and has just stepped on the line. John Haskins is going to bring in Janisa Munley, who started the game but didn't start this half. Bring her onto the floor in place of Haney, who Haskins will talk to before she sits down. 23-point game. CSU been on cruise control most of the day. Tay Smith cut off, driving to the basket, and then lost it. Kemp on the help side took it away and now leads it to the offensive end. Munley with good position, but Washington firmly planted on the ground, bothered the shot. Bradford thought about it, decides to step inside the arc. Again, swinging it across the court. Alexander holding it for a moment. Tatum will reset with 10 on the shot clock. Washington sets the screen, gets it back. The pick and roll, the oldest play in the book.
There's a reason, because it works.
Carrie Washington with 4. Carrie, another player that seems to have gotten remarkably better this year, especially on the offensive end, doing a better job finishing around the rim. Long, high-arcing 3 from Mitchell, didn't go down, and Carrie Washington just leapt over the defender to get it. Alexander quickly in transition, that line drive, hits nothing but iron.
Probably not the shot you want on that possession.
All the way to the other end, no one stopped Huntley, but that's the afternoon it's been for UNC Pembroke right now, as that one missed the easy layup. The rebound tapped out of bounds, and CSU will have it after the first media timeout of half number 2. CSU led by 19 at the break. They've scored the first 6 of the second half, 15:51 to go. They lead it 56-31. $15:51 to go here in Columbus. Peach Belt Conference doubleheader on tap. It's a rare Friday-Sunday weekend that we have here. These two teams, along with Georgia Southwestern, as they have a stoppage to make sure they get the right 5 on the floor. Georgia Southwestern and Francis Marion, the other two teams on this Friday-Sunday double dip of this weekend. Generally, it's Wednesday, Saturday, or Thursday, Saturday. Well, we go Friday, Sunday this weekend, and then next week we'll go Saturday, Monday, as they'll play on Martin Luther King Day. An afternoon showing here inside the Lumpkin Center that Monday, as this pass can't be handled by Michelle Montgomery, who's just checked into the game. Dropped it out of bounds, and it'll be back into the hands of the Lady Braves. midweek road trip to Young Harris on Wednesday, and then Armstrong in here next Saturday. Flagler the following Monday. Munley using her body to create space but missed the shot. Harry Washington so long around the rim that she doesn't have to block it to bother the shot. That pass deflected but ends up in the hands of Washington. And we got a foul coming up in the scramble as Washington and Munley both hit the deck.
In the first almost 5 minutes here of the second half, real similar to the entire first half for both teams. And if you're CSU, if you're Jonathan Norton, you got to like that.
UNC Pembroke still has not scored in this second half of basketball. Dee DeShazer with it, hit 3 threes in the first half. I was talking to Jonathan Norton off the air about it prior to Friday's game as DeShazer will fire. Not sure if that was tipped or not. It wasn't. She just missed poorly to the left. I was talking about DeShazer and Kennebrew, and he said he sat them both down and said, we have you here because you can shoot the basketball. So I don't want you to be shy. When you get an open look, take it. And DeShazer and Kennebrew have taken that to heart. Kennebrew not able to play today because of a concussion suffered Friday night, but DeShazer's already fired 9 times from downtown. That 3 rolled out for Mitchell, but an offensive rebound keeps it alive, and DeShazer has the steal, pokes it away, one-on-one with Huntley, and Dee DeShazer is into double figures as her career night continues.
That's the best thing you can say as a coach to a player is we know what you do well, do what you do. And because the hardest thing, especially once you're adjusting to a new level of play, is the worry that, well, if I'm trying to do what I do and I make a mistake or I miss a shot or whatever it is, I'm going to get yanked. And for Jonathan Norton to give her that vote of confidence really is going to help her out and help her improve as her career goes on.
He's getting instant results out of it as well. Kristen Kennebrew had knocked down quite a few shots during her playing time here in the second half of the season. And obviously DeShazer doing it again tonight. A career-high 11 points already as CSU sends a couple more subs in. Mary McCarty back on the floor, as is Kim Blake. So it's back to 5 off the bench for CSU. Kayla Richards yet to get in the scoring column today. Could add to that number of players that have scored for CSU. Blake will try for a second one, and Kim Blake has 2 of them from downtown.
2-point career high before then, looking like a scorer here. Great looking shot.
Knockdown shots, you'll earn yourself more playing time as McCarty rips the rebound down off the missed 3. CSU has hit 8 of them from downtown today. Michelle Montgomery out there stands at 6'2", but she will step out and shoot it as well. Has a good shooting touch. CSU up by 30. Richards puts it on the floor. She'll try to get in the scoring column. Missed everything but the net. McCarty has to get rid of it. Had the shot blocked, and it's a shot clock violation. Probably should have just shot it instead of putting it on the floor.
Had to look, especially didn't maybe not aware of where the shot clock was. Jonathan Norton asking for a foul on that play. Looked to me like he had a case.
Up 30, though, with 12:50 to go. I don't think the officials are going to prolong this one.
No, probably not. Something tells me.
12:45 and counting on this one. CSU up by 30 on their way to what would be their 9th victory of the season in 12 tries. From straight on, Horn knocks down another 3. She has a good shot. Hadn't seen much of the floor, though. Second time she's hit one. She has 8. Montgomery trying to show some range, and CSU now has missed a couple of shots in this half very badly.
Yeah, a couple of shots maybe they shouldn't have taken. Everybody, it's kind of shooting percentages are contagious, but so is the confidence. But at the same time, you have to realize your limitations and who you are as a player.
Driving to the basket, earning 2 free throws is Erico Williams, who's into the game, a freshman from Fayetteville, North Carolina. John Haskins has used Fayetteville, North Carolina to his liking here. 3 players on his roster there. It's a primarily North Carolina bunch. So most of them stayed home playing basketball in their home state. Only 2 players on the roster from outside the state of North Carolina. So back-to-back free throws there for Williams. Makes it a 25-point game, 61-36. And the task here over the final 12 minutes is DeShazer hits another one.
How about that release? Just lightning fast.
The task for CSU is to not get complacent. Don't put it on cruise control and just coast the rest of the way. Keep doing what you've been doing. Horn again from outside, feeling it from straight on. Camille Horn with 11. It's going to start, though, on this end for UNC Pembroke if they get back anywhere near CSU in this one. They got to get stops. McCarty off the glass, scores again. Mary McCarty with 4.
Great move there from the freshman. Put the ball on the floor once, uses his shoulder to create a little space, knock down the shot. Like a veteran.
Offense isn't going to be the problem with McCarty. She's the all-time leading scorer at Calvary Christian School, as a foul coming up on the ball that time, I believe, by Mary. Where she is at, though, is trying to figure out the defensive end of the court. I was talking to Jonathan Norton about it the other day. I was asking, where does she stand? Because he said in preseason he'd like to have her play some backup minutes at the 4, and she hadn't played all year. And he's saying, she can do things on the offensive end, but she's someone that had never played man-to-man defense.
Huh.
High school career, never played it.
Yeah.
Calvary Christian, a team that plays only zone at the women's ranks, and so she had never played man-to-man. He said sometimes, we play man-to-man defense in practice, and I look up and I have no idea where she's at. And she's just lost defensively, and so he said with time, that will come, and with time, she's earning more minutes now and an opportunity to play.
That's an adjustment, too. That's an adjustment to make. It's a lot like, to compare it to football, it's a lot like a guy that only plays out of the shotgun in college and then gets to the pros and has to go under center, and it's an adjustment. But I mean, credit to her to get to the point where she can be a dependable player, has gotten to the point, has put in the work to learn how to play man-to-man defense, to the point that Jonathan Norton can put her on the floor and know that he's gonna give him valuable minutes.
Now, you look at the high school numbers, she averaged 22 and 15 a game in high school.
Not bad.
So you knew when she came here she would have the opportunity to score and put up big numbers potentially on the offensive end, but basketball is a two-sided game. You've got to play on both ends.
It is that, but again, I just credit to her for putting in the work to get to the point where she can be a contributor on both ends of the floor.
Earning more minutes here. She has 4 points tonight, not on the floor now as CSU goes back to 4 of its starting 5. Kerry Washington not on the floor. Instead, Ashley Azuzu in her place in the middle. CSU again in that zone. Into the corner. Horn forced to give it up wildly. Throws one up to the top. Shot clock at 9. Azuzu poked the pass away, and I believe they're going to say Ashley committed the foul from behind. For Ashley, that's her second. Again, nobody in this game with more than 2 fouls. That has not been any kind of factor. 66-39, though. CSU cooling off in this second half. They've scored just 16 points in 9.5 minutes. As Kemp goes to the rim, too strong, overshot everything, and the follow was blocked. Tay Smith now wants to run, has Tatum out to her left, and then Tay tripped up from behind by Williams. Again, second game of our doubleheader comes up 25 minutes following this one. CSU in dire need of a victory and quite a tough opponent that they'll have to try to go against. A very good UNC Pembroke team that'll be in here for the second game. Chantel Bradford will step out. Thought about shooting it. Kemp was there, though, to discourage it. Shot clock at 6 as Alexander spins into the lane, and she'll draw 2 free throws. The foul goes against Phoenicia Lawson, a freshman out of Reedsville, North Carolina. So Aisha Alexander had 12 points in the first half, looking for her first points of the second half at the line. Aisha had 18 points and 8 rebounds on Friday night. And it was good to see that from her after being held scoreless by USC Aiken in the loss last Saturday. You knew she wouldn't be held down because it was the first time since she was a freshman that she had been held scoreless. It had been 65 games for her since she had gone a game without scoring a point, and it happened last Saturday. Not the case this past weekend, though, or this weekend, rather, as the shot was missed. Bradford corrals it, and she'll lead it the other way. Almost a carry as that ball got awful high, got a little bit away from Chatil. It's one of the things that you like about the CSU team. So many of them can just grab the rebound and dribble to the other end. It's not players that don't know what they're doing with the basketball. Smith from downtown missed to the left. So the shooting percentage under 50% at the moment as Huntley goes coast to coast. Second time she's done that. First time, though, that she's made it. Again, tough to keep any kind of intensity in a ball game like this with 9 minutes to go, and probably not in doubt, barring a big-time comeback. As Bradford pump fakes, puts it on the floor, and knocks it down.
Well, you're right about that, but at the same time, you have to still play your game. You have to still play fundamentals and fundamentally sound. And that last possession from UNC Pembroke, for example, you got to have somebody step in front of the ball and stop it there. You can't just swipe at it as it goes by and let her get right to the rim.
Horn, from the same spot she's hit 3 already, hits another. Horn has 4 from downtown, 14 points total. Now she just needs somebody to help her out. Eight minutes to go, 26-point game as Alexander creates a wide open look for Tay Smith, who draws the back rim, but the long rebound corralled and caromed into the hands of Brittany Tatum. And now we had an offensive foul against Brittany Tatum. And we've hit the under 8 media timeout. 7:51 to go. CSU likely on its way to a 9-3 start to the season and a 4-2 record in conference play. They've got 7:51 to close it out. 70-44, CSU in front. Stephen Williams, Jonathan Husky back here with you on Cougar Sports TV. The Lady Cougars up by 26 with 7:51 to go. CSU checking Colleen Gottfried, a freshman from here in Columbus, into the game for the first time. She's played just 2 games this season, but getting an opportunity here with 8 minutes to go and CSU comfortably ahead, a chance to get her some minutes down the stretch. DeShazer deflected the pass out of bounds, but he'll stay with UNC Pembroke. Colleen, a freshman from Pacelli High School here in Columbus. Played 6 minutes earlier this year against Fort Valley State, scored her only 3 points of the year. Hasn't seen game action, though, in a while. So a good opportunity for her to get out there and see the floor. Shot clock at 6 as Huntley gets it. Driving on the baseline, cut off, shot clock down to 1. Hardy fires at the horn, and it's Gottfried with the rebound. Tatum will push it the other way. It's Tatum along with DeShazer, Gottfried, Richards, and Azuzu. Underneath, Azuzu with a touch. The shot over the top of Lawson, hit off the front rim, and now Huntley wants to push it the other way with no numbers. She'll go all by herself, and Azuzu deflected it. Got behind the defense. Ashley, though, with the block. Tatum some nifty dribbling. They'll swing it around. Kayla Richards wide open, buries the three. So add another Lady Cougar to the scoring column, as it has been all the way spread out across the board for CSU this afternoon. Not going to be a whole lot of things Jonathan Norton can complain about when this ball game's over. Pretty complete performance on both ends. Hardy, right wing, bounces out. CSU holding UNC Pembroke to 34% from the field. They're shooting 49% for themselves, a 29-point lead, and they have 6 minutes still to go in this one. This is what he was hoping for when he showed up to the building this afternoon. Gottfried posting up underneath. They try to get her a touch, but the pass was stolen. Hardy with the steal, runs it the other way. Kemp all the way to the rim, sidesteps a defender, couldn't complete the play, but will earn 2 free throws out of it. Kayla Richards commits the foul. It's her first. Jasmine Kemp, who's been held scoreless in the second half and will stay that way at least for the time being, had 9 in the first half, was their leading scorer. Hasn't cracked the scoring column, though, here in the first 14 and a half minutes of this second half. And she still won't crack it. By the way, we've played 14 and a half minutes. UNC Pembroke has scored 8 points. Gottfried got caught underneath the rim that time and hit the bottom of it. Actually, they scored 13. That's terrible math on my part.
That's out of character for you.
That was terrible math. Broadcaster.
Right.
CSU with a couple of subs ready to check in on the next whistle as we roll under 5 minutes to go. Tatum goes baseline, tried the reverse layup, had it blocked. Still time on the shot clock, though, as Gottfried will fire from 3. Hits off the front rim, and it's fun to watch the bench. Every one of them stood up. And this place would have erupted had that gone down.
I'm just thinking that same thing. They want Colleen to get a bucket.
To the rim goes Munley. And they're going to get a blocking foul, I believe, coming up on Azuzu. That'll be her third. So Janisa Munley will head to the free throw line. Averages about 7 points per game. She only has 2 in this one. It's been just a frustrating afternoon for John Haskins' bunch. It's been a difficult road trip for them. This is the 3rd game in a row they've played on the road. They lost at Georgia Regents by 9 on January 5th, and then lost by 21 on Friday night in Americus against Georgia Southwestern. So this has been a tough little swing for this group that's lost 4 in a row. Second one for Munley, good, and now it'll be Huntley that'll provide some backcourt pressure on Kim Blake, who's into the game now. Mary McCarty also back out there. And now a hand check foul coming up on the ball, committed by Huntley. Lady Braves in no danger of getting into the bonus just yet. They've only committed 4 fouls now in this half. CSU has committed 8, so Pembroke is in the bonus on the offensive end. McCarty posting up underneath, puts it on the floor again, and she'll head to the line as she was hit on the arm. She has that move down, the same move she made earlier. One power dribble, back it down, and put the shot up.
And that's really kind of an art form to know how to take that dribble, time it right, and bumped the defender with the shoulder enough to create space, but not enough to draw an offensive foul call.
Mary scoring her first points of her career here in this one, has 5 now. You would imagine that she'll earn more minutes as she goes forward. Played for the very first time on Friday. Has 5 points and 2 rebounds in this one. This one really hasn't been in doubt since early in the first half. CSU jumped out in front and has controlled this ball game from the word go. And that pass ends up in the hands of John Haskins, who's going to hold on to that ball and not let go. He held on to that ball to make sure he got all of his instructions he wanted in. And with 3:57 to go, we'll take our final media timeout. CSU well in control, 74-46. They lead UNC Pembroke. UNC Pembroke pulled within 9 points at 17-8 with 13:08 to go in the first half. CSU then came down and hit a 3 with 12:50 to go, and they've been up by double digits since that point. They led by 19 at halftime. They lead by 28 now as they've continued to add on. We'll hear from Jonathan Norton post-game, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of good things to say about the way his team played tonight. Shot clock at 8. Blake has it up top. Underneath, they try to get it to Gottfried, and she's fouled from behind as they tried to poke it away, so CSU will get a fresh 30. Some of the CSU men starting to gather over near the entrance to the building as UNC Pembroke takes a timeout with 3:31 to go. So let's talk about the men's matchup we've got coming up. You've got a CSU team that's not, let's be honest, not in a good spot. It's a team that's 6 times this season had a double-digit lead at some point in the ball game, only to watch it go away and either have it tied or taken away from them. They've won 3 of those. The problem is the 3 that they lost were all conference games. So you're talking about a team that honestly should be 4-1 in conference play, and instead they're 1-4, and the perspective of where this season's at has completely swung.
Well, I think the problem that they run into is they don't have a lot of size, and the way you kind of make another football comparison, you know, on a football game, you run the clock by running the ball, and in basketball, you kind of make your money by having that big guy down low that you can give it to and just kind of grind away points when you need to when the offense isn't working. You're going to have games like the women are having here tonight where it seems like everything you throw up goes in, and you're going to win those games, but you can't have an offense based on that. It's just too inconsistent, and I think CSU, the men, have a lot of talent, a lot of athleticism. They're just missing that one key guy inside to kind of grind away games.
They had a heartbreaking loss come their way on Friday night. They controlled that game for the first 35.5 minutes. And then down the stretch, just didn't make enough plays. And Francis Marion took advantage of it and beat them by 3. So it's closing in on must-win status very early in the season. And it's a UNC Pembroke team that is very, very good, and they're needing a victory of their own coming in here as we have a foul coming up against Janisa Munley. And that's the 7th foul now, so Colleen Gottfried will get a chance to get into the scoring column from the free throw line. Gottfried, for someone who stands 6'1", a good-looking free throw shot that time. Make it 11 different Lady Cougars that have scored. The only one that's played that hasn't scored is Michelle Montgomery, as Gottfried has 2. UNC Pembroke will head back home after this. They'll have 3 straight home games after 3 straight road ones finish up. They'll have Lander coming up on the 15th. Clayton State will be in, and then Montevallo will be in town next weekend. As another foul coming up, this one against CSU. Foul was on Kayla Richards. They started to say 45, but Michelle Montgomery's not on the floor, so it wasn't on her. As it's Kiara Haney at the free throw line as the struggles continue for UNC Pembroke in this one. 30-point game, 3 minutes, 1 second to go. Haney has the second. It's her first point of the half. A lot of long faces on the UNC Pembroke bench. I'm sure they're going to be glad to get back home and have this road trip come to a close, as the pass was stolen away and Kayla Richards knocked it out of bounds for the turnover. Now the referees are going to get together and talk about it. Looked like Kayla Richards was the one that knocked it out of bounds, but maybe it wasn't.
A good play by her, a good hustle by her to get back there and at the very least prevent the easy basket, the transition layup.
Guess it was a question of the shot clock. They reset it to 30. Say that UNC Pembroke never, I guess, established possession. More of a scramble situation. Haney from the corner, missed the 3. DeShazer with good position that time, grabbed the rebound. Dee Dee's had a nice day. She has 14 points. She's hit 4 3-pointers. She's one of 4 Lady Cougars in double figures. Gottfried from downtown, and it fall off to the right. McCarty's follow, bounces around and missed. Huntley to the rim. Does a good job of getting there. It's the finishing part that she struggled with.
That was great defense, though, by Bell, getting in front of the ball handler and not causing a foul, but standing her ground enough to force her to change direction.
UNC Pembroke starting to go into their bench as well. Jasmine Edwards, a junior out of Chester, Virginia, into the game for the first time, wearing number 3 in black. 2:09 and counting as CSU will improve to 9-3 on the season. They'll win their second straight, and they'll be 4-2 in conference play. Munley to the basket. The shot wasn't there. Lawson's follow goes down, and she'll earn a free throw, and that'll draw some applause from the UNC Pembroke bench. The reason that one draws so much applause is Lawson had only scored 2 points all year. So she's matched that total here and did it one better. So it's a 26-point game, making a 28-point game as Kayla Richards hits the shot. 5 for the sophomore. Offense coming from all over. When you win by upwards of 20, closing in on 30, you score 80 points, and your leading scorer has 14, you know it's been a good day.
Been a good day, and everything going right for CSU, and I like that last possession. Like I said earlier, they're not scared to make an early pass. They're not scared to make an aggressive pass, and they're not scared to take an early shot in the shot clock if it's there. And that's exactly what happened, and Richards knocked it down.
Michelle Montgomery will come in with 1:36 to go as it's Munley at the free throw line. Again, second game of the doubleheader coming up, 25 minutes following the conclusion of this one. Once this one's over, we'll have Jonathan Norton with us post-game to give us his thoughts. Then we'll take a break and we'll come back a couple minutes prior to the start of the men's game and get you ready for that one. Lawson underneath has another and one. So Lawson having a nice 30-second span. So Lawson will try for 6 points. Won't get to it, but UNC Pembroke owning the boards at the moment as the follow was good for Munley. DeShazer will try again off the back rim. Rebound corralled by Edwards as we hit 1 minute to go. Huntley tries to go all the way to the other end, lost it. Gottfried the steal, and CSU with possession up 23. Just in total control in this one throughout. That ball got through everybody, and it hits off the baseline. I believe they're trying to go to Gottfried with it as McCarty comes in place of Colleen, who will sit down for the final 43 seconds. Need to see if we can get Montgomery a basket before this one's over. We get one more possession, and then everybody will have scored.
Everybody in the scoring column.
Only one on the sheet without any points so far. CSU should have one final possession at things, although when they get that possession, the shot clock should be off, so they will not have to take a shot, and they may not get one. Offensive rebound gives Pembroke the ball back with the shot clock off. The shot was missed. Montgomery grabs a rebound, and with 15 seconds left, CSU can just run the clock out. DeShazer will hold on to it. The clock will run out. Round of applause for the Lady Cougars from the Lumpkin Center, and CSU is going to win it 78-55. A dominant performance from start to finish for CSU as they jump to 9-3 and 4-2 inside conference play. There's not much more to say about what they did today other than executed to perfection, shot the ball well, and walked out of here with an easy one.
This is one of those games that everything went right. You know, you had a game plan, you executed, and you shot well, as you said, and there's really nothing to be upset about if you're Jonathan Norton, although he is a coach, so I'm sure he'll find something to improve on. They are good at that, but no, there was absolutely nothing to complain about when it comes to the Lady Cougars' performance here tonight.
It was a dominant performance all the way around, as CSU has 4 players in double figures for the night, and more importantly, especially down the stretch like we talked about, they had the opportunity to rest some players. And you talked about Aisha Alexander and Shatil Bradford battling just kind of chronic leg injuries and aren't ever going to get fully better, but nights like tonight are opportunities to make them feel a little bit better.
And related to that, the opportunity to get some players some minutes. Mary McCarty, Colleen Gottfried, Michelle Montgomery, some players that don't see a lot of floor time, got them a chance to get out there and get kind of in the flow of a game, because you never know. There could be a situation late in the year where you need one of them to step up for some reason to play some more significant minutes, and anytime you can get them an opportunity to kind of ease into things and ease into conference play here, you want to take it.
Nobody played more than 27 minutes for CSU, and that was Brittany Tatum, the freshman point guard. 4 players in double figures. Aisha Alexander and Dee DeShazer each lead the way with 14 points. That's a career-high 14 for Dee for the season. 11 points for Shatil Bradford, 10 for Tay Smith, and then scoring spread out across the board. 5 for Tatum, 5 for McCarty, 5 for Richards, 6 for Kim Blake, a new high for her. Everybody but Michelle Montgomery able to get into the scoring column, and Michelle only took 1 shot. On the other side, it was 14 for Camille Horn, who got her 14 points with 4 3-pointers and then had another basket on it. 9 points for Jasmine Kemp, and the scoring spread out across the board from there for UNC Pembroke. As the Lady Cougars win it 78-55, Dee DeShazer scores a new high for her, 14 points, sitting down with us now. 14 points today. You feel pretty good shooting the basketball?
Yes, I do.
Coach told us the other day that he sat down with you and Kristen Kinnebrew and said, I need you all to start shooting more. Does that add a little confidence for you as you go?
Yeah. He just tells me to shoot every time, so it helps a lot knowing that he wants me to shoot. So.
Was it hard at first making the transition, knowing that you don't want to screw up? Is that the attitude that you come in with?
I did, but I have more confidence now.
You look at it, a night like tonight, it's kind of an easy win. How much does that do for your all's confidence?
I mean, it definitely increases it, and it makes, we all feel more confident with each other as freshmen.
Dee, congratulations, 14 points today. Congratulations on the ball game.
Thank you.
Dee DeShazer with us as we wrap things up here for game number 1 from the Lumpkin Center. The Lady Cougars win it 78-55, a second game of the doubleheader coming up. The Lady Cougars are 9-3 on the season now, 4-2 in Peach Belt Conference play. And now we'll turn our attentions to the Cougar men as they now get into desperation mode and badly need a victory against a UNC Pembroke team that needs a victory of their own inside conference play. Both teams coming off of losses on Friday night. We're going to take a short break. We'll reset things here from the Lumpkin Center, and we will come back in a matter of moments with the pregame for the men's game as we await Jonathan Norton to finish up his postgame duties on the radio before he talks with us and we head off for game number 2. The Lady Cougars shoot 45% when all is said and done. They shoot 37% in the second half as the shots weren't falling with as much consistency as they did in half number 1. So it goes down to 45% for the game. They tie their season high with 10 made three-pointers, 10 of 11 from the foul line, and that's a nice welcomed change from where things were on Friday night when they made just 8 of 20. So an all-around good performance as head coach Jonathan Norton slides on over with us to wrap things up. 78-55. His team is now 9-3 and 2 wins in a row, and there's not a whole lot to complain about.
No, it helps when you make a lot of shots early, and we did, and a lot of threes early. And I've said that all along. If we make perimeter shots and shoot a high percentage, we can be a pretty good basketball team, and it showed today. And then we got some help from Pembroke, who was making a statement, benching one of their starters to start the game, and so they got off to a slow start offensively, and it created a nice win for us.
And you got a lot of opportunities for other players. Michelle Montgomery, Mary McCarty, Colleen Gottfried. A lot of players got to see time.
Yeah, and that was important with the one-day turnaround. Chantel Bradford had suffered a stomach virus last night and was up throwing up, didn't have any energy. So it gave us a chance to rest some of those folks who've been playing a ton of minutes and get a lot of experience for some of those young players. And, you saw me, we're still teaching like crazy at the end of the game, trying to get them ready, game ready, because we're going to need – somebody's going to have to step up before the year's out and give us big minutes.
Dee DeShazer, you talked about her and Kristen Kenneber. You told them they have to shoot it.
Yeah.
And it seems like that they've both taken that to heart, and she just sat down with us and said it helps her confidence knowing that you want her to shoot.
Yeah, she's got the green light, and I thought that for the most part every shot she took was a good one. I thought she got off balance a couple times, probably rushed them. But she's capable of getting going and hitting 5, 6, 7. She's capable of doing what R.J. Sessions has done for our men, and we just got to keep encouraging her.
Last weekend, you won game number 1, and then you said it just came out flat in game number 2. What was the difference this weekend, did you think?
I thought we made shots. I thought last weekend we could not throw it in the ocean to start. And whoever says, defense doesn't have an off night, when you struggle to score on the offensive end, it does take some intensity out of yourselves on the defensive end because you're feeling sorry for yourself. So I thought that was a difference. I thought we made a lot of shots early, so it gives you a little pep in your step. And you're playing at home. We didn't have that travel, to worry about and make us a little road weary. So I think those are the two things.
Big game on Wednesday night. Young Harris, a team that seems like they've been knocking everybody off across the board. Big one inside the division. What does that present?
Oh, man, that's telling Scott on the radio. It's just a tough game. They've got a stud post player in Johnson who's averaging 20-plus a game. They got a really, really good point guard. I think maybe the best point guard in our league, Lauren Smith, who just is strong and tough and just does not turn it over and plays 40 minutes a game. But more importantly, we're playing on the road in their gym where they get great home court advantage, and they play 2-3 zone the entire game. They have no secrets, and they're not hiding anything. Hey, we're going to do this, and they're going to try to slow it down. They beat Clayton in the 40s, and they beat Georgia College yesterday. I went over and watched that game, and it was in the 50s, and it went into overtime. And so they want a slow down game, and they want to pound it inside. So we've got a work cut out for us to get ready for 2 days of practice.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it. Best of luck on the road.
Thanks, Stephen.
Head coach Jonathan Norton as we wrap things up here from the Lumpkin Center on game number 1. His team 9-3 and 4-2 in conference play as they win it 78-55. We're about 18 and a half minutes away from tip here in the Lumpkin Center of game number 2. We'll take the break, we'll reset, and we'll come back with game number 2 of our doubleheader here on Cougar Sports TV. Final from game 1, CSU knocks off UNC Pembroke 78-55.